Hey guys, if you miss class on the 23rd or 24th, here is just some information for you. So a reminder that the Thunberg quiz was due at 8 a.m. today. Um, and today we're going to discuss the Thunberg assignment and then move on to our first biology module, organization of body systems. So our due now for today was what is one way that you yourself could actually go verify information that you have heard about? And we wanted to be specific, not just saying look stuff up on Google. Um, if you want to do some online research, it's great. Uh, Wikipedia is a fantastic source. A lot of you don't like Wikipedia. Wikipedia is great. Problem with Wikipedia sometimes it is very scientific because they are citing scientific journals. Sometimes it's hard to understand that information, but Wikipedia is a fantastic source. Um, Some news sites are great. Some science news sites like Science News, Discover, all those are good places to go for some information. Um, and that's what a lot of your classmates talked about. So I'm going to go over this slideshow. We're going to talk about the Thunbergs. So the Thunbergs. So it was a jerk move to lie to you. I promise I won't lie to you again. But hopefully there was a lesson learned from this. Um, the lesson from this activity is one of the biggest reasons that I decided that I wanted to become a science teacher. Uh, there are several times I can think back on from high school and college when I was, I guess, for lack of a better word, tricked, or I believed in information that wasn't scientifically accurate. I don't know if I would say fake. It was just misinformation. It was twisted. It was not totally accurate. Um, Stuff like big topics like vaccines and global warming. Like I had read stuff that they were bad, that they didn't exist, that type of thing. And then when I actually did research, when I took classes, when I talked to college professors, it made me feel stupid that I was tricked by this false information. And so that was kind of when I decided I really want to become a science teacher because I don't like the feeling of not understanding how to understand information, and I want to teach people how to do that. And I really like science too. And sometimes it's really tough to determine stuff that you're reading or you're hearing is accurate. But hopefully, we can teach you a few things to make you a better evaluator of information. So, a quote that I really like, it was a political quote, but I still really like it for science, is trust but verify. A lot of you and the responses on your quizzes were amazing. I laughed for 2 days reading them. One of them, one response that a lot of people said is, "I'm not going to trust any teachers anymore." Nah, that's not what we're trying to get you at. We want you to have trust in people that have like expert positions, like trust doctors, trust trust teachers. Um, I don't know if I'd lump politicians in that group because that's a little fuzzy, but have trust for people that are in expert positions. But if you have that your BS detector goes off a little bit, don't be afraid to go verify that information. So trust, but be skeptical. When we're looking at science, we could probably lump things into two main ways that we see incorrect information. One of them being exactly what I did, was intentionally lying to you, giving you intentional misinformation, and unintentional misinformation. Sometimes those kind of overlap. Maybe the people that are giving you the information don't really understand the science and they're not intending to be wrong or giving you misinformation, but they haven't done their due diligence to figure it out, or they have blinders on. They are so set in their ways that they are not going to change their mind whatsoever. At that point, that's a really weird uh, intentional, unintentional. I don't know where I put that category because they're intending to be ignorant, but maybe they don't know exactly what the real information is. So, example of unintentional information. A lot of times we see this coming from people that don't understand the science, haven't done the work to understand it. and this can be problematic. One that you'll see a lot is people that only read the headline and they think they have enough information to make a logical reply. Uh, and most headlines are clickbait, where they just want you to click in there so that the website gets a click. And sometimes the headline has very little to do with what the article actually says. If you read the article, you actually understand a little bit more. Sometimes disinformation is harmless, like the Thunbergs. That's pretty harmless. I know you guys hate me for lying to you about it, but it's harmless. It's not going to change your life. Um, Maybe it'll make you a little more skeptical of things, which is what I want. Other times, misinformation can be really harmful, and that's what I want you to. That's what I want you to always have in the back of your mind. So here's a few things. This took me 5 minutes on Google image search to find instances where disinformation was bad. So this one was from 2018, how private Facebook groups are spreading dangerous medical advice. I've seen some of those. Some of the stuff that you see on Facebook for medical advice is downright scary to somebody that understands what's going on there. But to the regular person, it might sound okay, or to a desperate person, it might sound okay, but it's not. Um, this one, I don't know what the date is on this one, but it said fake blogs, warnings about medical advice from online experts. Uh, Florida man charged for selling bleach coronavirus cure, and they arrested him in Colombia. This happened a month ago. Uh, this comes from about a month ago, too. Doctors say they're dealing with significantly more patients who resist their advice because of misinformation they read online. So we are actually seeing people that are trusting random things that they see on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and they're not trusting their doctors because of something they read online. Uh, that's dangerous. That puts people in bad positions. And then a Royal Society over in Europe says fake science and the knowledge crisis, ignorance can be fatal. So ignorance is just not knowing what you don't know. And that's why we push people to be educated and go out and look things up and do things like that so you become more knowledgeable about things. All right, so this is my favorite example of disinformation that's not it's not doesn't really have negative consequences. It just shows that how disinformation can spread. So the bottom thing that I have on there is an article that came from Time magazine, which is a pretty respected magazine. They've got good reporters. They've been around a long time. This is what the headline says: scientists say smelling farts might prevent cancer. No, scientists did not say that. Scientists said that there's a gas that uh, is generated when cells are under stress and it can help them survive. Nothing about cancer, nothing about farts. But what this reporter probably saw was the hydrogen sulfide gas. They probably put that into Google. It probably came up with something about that being in flatulence, and they decided smelling farts might prevent cancer. Nope, scientists did not say that. This reporter said that, and I guarantee I was in grocery store back when I lived in Kansas when this came out. I was in the checkout line, and I literally heard a man talking to another lady about this article, saying, "Yeah, scientists said that if you smell farts, it might prevent cancer." Ha 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 ha. So this disinformation spreads, and there's two problems with this disinformation. One, it's fake. The second thing is that it can create a distrust in science because this sounds dumb, and it is dumb, but the science is actually good and interesting. What the general public reads is this, because the majority of us are not reading scientific journals. They are way above our heads. We're reading Time magazine, and we're getting not accurate information in there, which is not good. All right. So how do you find misinformation? Best way to look at is to look at the sources of the information. That person Is that person somebody that has the knowledge to give that information? I know with the coronavirus things, you see a lot of people that are doctors on TV that are talking about things. I looked up one guy because he was talking about some stuff that wasn't accurate about coronavirus. Looked him up, and he's an economics professor. So he has a doctorate in economics, business, not medical advice. So there should have been zero reason he should have been given medical advice, but because he has that doctor in front of his name, people automatically think that he has medical information. So figure out what that person's actual credentials are. News agencies, some of them can be really, really good. Some of the international ones like BBC, Reuters, um, those have some pretty good reporting in there that's not too biased. Some of your news sources are going to be very biased, uh, so be careful of that. How do you verify information? Research, which still sometimes research is a little tough to do, um, because for some of us it's hard to access some of that scientific information because it's the language of science is tough. Science journals are a good way to get information if you can understand the science. Sometimes, and I put this underlined and in italics because I want to make sure it's sometimes social media can be fantastic source. There's actually a group of doctors that are on Twitter that are going out to combat anti-science, anti-medical information. Uh, they try to tell people actual truth about it. So sometimes social media can be very good. Verified Twitter accounts. Sometimes Reddit has some fantastic information on there, and sometimes if you bet on it, it doesn't. Um, Getting second opinions is also good from asking one expert and then asking another expert that's in the same field. And then just people that have gone to school for that particular thing. They've dedicated their lives to it. They have knowledge about it. So why did we do this assignment? Why did I decide to make a fake lab, record it, and spend a ton of time doing that? Because it takes a while to record stuff like that. I want you to learn to not be afraid to question things. A lot of you in your responses said that I don't know if I want to question a teacher. Yeah, you should be okay with questioning things. And when I say question, I'm not like saying I don't believe you, but asking more questions about it, like how do those work? How long have you been testing it? Can we see them? Is this something that's going to cause problems in an ecosystem? Those are great questions. And once you start asking questions, sometimes you figure out that the person doesn't have good answers to it. And it's kind of a red flag. Be confident enough to up information. Some of you said you didn't want to look up information because your teacher told you and you've been taught to just trust. Look it up. There's no harm in doing that. I've done that tons of times in my life, and usually I found out that the person was truthful, and I learn more about it too, and become more interested in it. I become more knowledgeable about the topic. We did this assignment to show you how easily information can seem real. I don't know about you guys. Well, I know about some of you guys from your responses that you definitely hate being wrong and you were mad. I hate being wrong too. That is probably the thing I hate most is being wrong. Understanding how to verify claims and look up information is a good way not to put yourself in that position. So conclusions. This was fantastically fun to make and grade. Your responses were gold. Um, Even if you don't like science, it's going to be a huge part of your future. You guys are going to make healthcare decisions for yourself. Probably at some point in your life, hopefully a long time down the road, you're going to have to make healthcare decisions or help make healthcare decisions for your parents. Environmental decisions are becoming a huge thing. Um, it's going to affect you. Nutrition, there's a lot of disinformation on nutrition. All of those things are going to affect you, whether you like science or not. So you have two options: learn about it or rely on somebody else to tell you how it's going to go. I personally would like to learn about it myself because I trust myself. I trust my brain. I trust my ability to reason through information. I want to have the knowledge too. So, by understanding how science works, you'll become a better informed individual. And I personally think there's a lot of power in being a better informed individual. Couple quotes to wrap this up. Skepticism. Skepticism is just having this innate questioning in your mind, just wanting to know why, how, what. Are you sure that's how it goes? That type of thing. Skepticism is a mark of an educated mind. And another very great quote, I discourage passive skepticism, which is the armchair variety where people sit back and criticize without ever subjecting their theories or themselves to real field testing. So a passive skeptic would be somebody that's just like, I don't know. I don't believe it. I don't like doctors. I don't like science. I don't believe it. And they never actually do anything to gain more knowledge. They are passively, skeptically lazy, intellectually lazy. They're not learning anything. That's There's no point in being a skeptic at that point because you're not getting anywhere. All right, the Thunbergs. The reason I named them the Thunbergs was because of Greta Thunberg. So Greta Thunberg is somebody that I definitely look up to, even though she's only, I think, 17 years old. She was the 2019 Times Person of the Year, um, one of the world's most notable and youngest climate change activists. When she was 15, she started a movement by going herself in front of the Swedish parliament, the Swedish government buildings during school hours on Fridays, and protesting about climate change, telling those adults, freaking do something about this. This is going to affect my generation. Quit sitting on your butts and do something. She was able to speak in front of the United Nations. So leaders from all over the world listened to her speak as a teenager, somebody in high school. She also spoke to the United States Congress. This is somebody that I think it was when she was 8 or 9 years old. She heard something about climate change, about global warming, and she wanted to learn about it. And by learning about it, she became an expert in it. She became an activist in it. She became somebody that wants to change things. So it's a high school kid that decided they wanted to make an impact on the world, and they definitely, absolutely did. There's nothing really different from about her and you guys. All right. All right, let's quickly talk about your assignment for today, and then you guys can get out of here. So we are in a new module, organization of systems. We're going to talk about the human body quite a bit in this module. All right. So for today, talked quite a bit in here. So your assignment for today is just to take this 2-week student feedback quiz. I want to know a little bit about how things are going for you in online school and specifically in this class. Uh, I can use that information to uh, change things if I need to for the next couple of weeks, but it's just good to get your guys' feedback. So your assignment for today is just to take this quiz, and on Monday when we get back, we are going to dive pretty deep into uh, human body systems, and how they work together. All right, see you guys later.